So let's take a legal deep dive into this case. Joining me now is criminal defense attorney Hector Diaz of Diaz Law. Hector, there was a lot of information that was released in this news report here. I mean, you had text messages, his mother recognizing her son from the surveillance video. What exactly stood out to you in particular?
There was a lot of information. I think a couple things jumped out to me. The biggest was that you have the state prosecutors laying out their theory of prosecution here, which is odd.
They laid out a lot.
They did, and I think part of it is that maybe they're wanting to go on the offensive a little bit and say, hey, not only do we have our guy, we have all the evidence against him, and here it is, blah, right?
Yeah.
Usually, what you see in this document is the charges, maybe some information that supports the charges, but really, I mean, it's rare that they're including text messages. I mean, they're actually attaching text.
Right, there were full screens that they released where it was line by line. Yeah, I want to get into that. So we talk about the text messages, right, between the suspect, Tyler Robinson, and his roommate. He admitted to taking out Charlie Kirk because he had enough of his hatred.
Right.
I mean, when you have full body text messages like this in black and white here, how is that not incriminating?
It's going to be difficult. I mean, I don't think he's retained a lawyer yet.
No, he hasn't.
Whether there's going to be one appointed by the county, we'll have to see. But yeah, his attorneys are going to have their hands full. You still have to go through the evidence. They're going to have to see all of it, right?
Yeah.
And not just that was cherry picked by by the prosecutors here and put into their information. I mean, they're going to have to look at the entirety of, starting from square one, right? The DNA evidence. What did they find there at the crime scene, and then back up, right? They're going to interview all of the witnesses. They're going to look at all the electronics, and then make a decision in terms of, is there a defense here?
Right. So you mentioned something that I also wanted to ask you. He doesn't have an attorney yet. That kind of surprised me, just considering the magnitude of this case.
Given the high-profile nature, right? That's one thing that does stand out. But at this juncture, it is unusual at the arraignment, what we call the kickoff of the criminal case. The court typically will make that determination. Are you going to bring in a private attorney? We'll ask them, some back and forth in terms of that regard. And if not, a public defender could be appointed here for this individual going forward.
Yeah, I want to look at the charges here. He is charged with 7 counts, among them aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice. It keeps on going. The county attorney is seeking the death penalty based on what?
So, like most states, in order to go death penalty, they have to be able to establish that there were certain aggravators, right? Typically, it's that the crime was committed in a kind of depraved or heinous manner. Here, what I think Utah is laying out is that the manner in which this occurred put others at risk, put others at grave risk of death, that there were, other people in the audience or there watching Mr. Kirk, and, there were children. That's part of it. I think the other piece of it is that this was a targeted hit by this person, really for, Mr. Kirk's kind of political leanings. And so I think those two are the aggravators that they're going to lay out in terms of establishing why the death penalty is appropriate.
Now that we know more information, we had talked last week about motive versus intent. What do you see here?
Oh, they lay out the motive in their information. I mean, they lay out that you had an individual that had at least the allegation, he had a transgender partner, believed that Charlie Kirk was somebody who was spewing hate against certain sectors of society, and had an opportunity and wanted to take the opportunity to take him out. I mean, flat out laid it out.
Right.
And so it is. I mean, this is going to be exceedingly difficult for his defense going forward.
And speaking of his defense, I mean, can he claim mental illness? I mean, what would his defense be?
His lawyers will look at his competency. That's in these kinds of cases, one of the first things that you're going to do is dive into any mental health, any other issues. But I'll tell you, the things that are going to undercut that are going to be some of the efforts that he went into and premeditation that he went into and laying this out.
Right.
Some of the text messages.
Because apparently he had been planning this for weeks.
Absolutely.
Right?
The text messages, again, if they're accurate, and the defense attorney in me, I want to see them and I want to look at the phone. But it lays out very methodically and in a calculated manner what he was doing.
Right. Okay, so he just had his first appearance about 2 hours ago. What's next?
We're going to find out who his lawyer is. Whether that's, again, a court-appointed or a private attorney comes in. I think that's going to be the next kind of big stage here, the big issue that's going to come up. And then his lawyers are going to be getting discovery. They're going to be getting a ton of material in terms of the evidence. And we have this information. There is going to be a significant amount of information. I think the other thing that we should look out for is whether or not the federal government brings criminal charges as well. And so that's a separate jurisdiction. They can absolutely, if they so choose, can bring homicide charges against him because of the potential that there was a federal offense committed here as well.
Right. All right, Hector, always great to have you. Thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it. Troy?
All right, yeah, Hector, thanks. Memorial service for Charlie Kirk is being held on Sunday at State Farm Stadium, 11 a.m., and 12 News will be there. We're bringing you coverage beginning at 8 a.m. here on television, and then exclusively on 12 Plus, our streaming platform, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we will stream that entire memorial service. Download the app to watch on Sunday.